All right, let's talk about a problem that has been a thorn in India's side for, well, forever: corruption. But you know what? Instead of just talking about the problem, we're going to look at a potential solution. We're going to look at a blueprint from this tiny nation that went from being one of the most corrupt places in the world to one of the cleanest. This is a fascinating story. Let's dive in. So, to really get a grip on where things stand today, we've got to rewind a bit. Think back to 2014. The fight against corruption, it wasn't just one of the issues in the election, it was the issue. It was everything. And it was all built on this one incredibly powerful promise. I mean, this one line, na khaunga na khane dunga, it was huge. It captured the hopes of millions of people. It felt like a real declaration of war on black money and bribery, and it gave everyone this incredible feeling that, maybe, just maybe, real change was finally coming. Okay, so fast forward to today. That dream of a corruption-free India, it feels kind of far away, right? A recent poll paints a pretty stark picture. A full 40% of Indians believe that bribery and corruption are still just everywhere in public sectors. So despite all the promises, that virus of corruption was never really beaten. So what gives? What are we missing here? Well, to find a potential answer, we're going to take a trip to Singapore. But hold on, we're not talking about the Singapore you see on postcards, that gleaming futuristic city. Nope, we have to go way back to the 1960s, a time when Singapore was a completely different place. I mean, look at this. The change is just mind-blowing. Back in the 60s, Singapore was this tiny island with basically no natural resources. It was a slum. 75% of people lived in shacks. Everybody thought it was just a failed state waiting to completely collapse. And today, its per capita GDP is an incredible $88,000, and it's ranked as one of the least corrupt countries on the entire planet. Wow. And that right there is the big question. It's the whole reason we're talking about this today. How did they pull it off? How does a country with no oil, no land, no money turn itself around so completely? And more importantly, what can we learn from it? Well, the man behind this incredible turnaround was Singapore's first prime minister, Lee Kuan Yew. And his strategy, this wasn't about wishful thinking or making grand speeches. It was a cold, calculated plan, a three-pillar blueprint designed to literally rip corruption out from the roots. Okay, so here they are, the three big ideas. First, you create an anti-corruption agency that is so powerful, so independent that literally no one is above the law. Second, you pay your public servants so ridiculously well that they have zero reason to be corrupt. And third, you make elections so cheap that politics stops being some kind of business investment. Let's dig into each one because this is where it gets really interesting. So, the whole philosophy behind that first pillar comes down to one simple idea known as deterrence theory. Lee Kuan Yew got it. He knew that having a super harsh punishment doesn't mean anything if nobody ever gets caught. The real thing that stops people is the absolute certainty that if you break the law, you will be caught. And you don't have to take my word for it. Just look at the numbers. The results are, well, they're black and white. In Singapore, the conviction rate for corruption cases is 98%. Basically, if they investigate you, you're going to jail. Compare that to India, where the conviction rate is less than 1%. The message couldn't be clearer. In one country, there are consequences. In the other, it's a pretty good gamble. So how did they get to that 98%? Well, they gave their anti-corruption agency, let's just say, some serious teeth. It reports directly to the prime minister, and if the PM tries to stop an investigation, it can go right over his head to the president. They can arrest anyone, even a minister, right there on the spot. And get this is huge. If you have a lot of wealth that doesn't match your official salary, the burden of proof is on you to prove you got it legally. You're basically considered guilty until you can prove you're innocent. Okay, pillar number 2. Now this is the one that really gets people talking. It's kind of radical. Lee Kuan Yew asked a very basic question. Why would the smartest person in the room, a top surgeon, a brilliant lawyer, leave a multi-million-dollar job to take a massive pay cut and run the country? And his answer was simple. You don't ask them to, you just pay them what they're worth. And when we say pay them what they're worth, we are not kidding. Just look at these figures. The Prime Minister of Singapore makes about 18 crore rupees a year. 18 crore. An entry-level minister there starts at 7 crore. Now, put that next to a starting IAS officer in India, someone who might be managing projects worth thousands of crores, but their starting salary is just 7 lakh rupees. The logic is just brutally simple. If you don't pay your best people well, they're going to find other ways to get paid. And that leads us to the third and honestly, maybe the most eye-opening pillar of all. This is where we stop talking about corruption as just a moral problem and start looking at it like a business problem. It's all about the return on investment, or ROI. To get what I mean, I want you to just focus on one number for a second. In India, right now, the unofficial cost to win a single major election can be as high as 50 crore rupees. Now, we're not talking about the official numbers on paper. We're talking about the real world, what it actually takes cost. So let's just do some basic math here. If you spend 50 crores to get a job that officially pays you, 30-40 lakhs a year, how do you even break even, let alone raise money for the next election? A free house isn't going to cover it. The system itself basically forces you to recover that massive investment through, other means. So what did Singapore do? They attacked this problem right at the source. They didn't just set low spending limits for elections. They enforced them with an iron fist. Every single poster, every banner is audited. Meanwhile, in India, those official spending limits are kind of treated more like gentle suggestions, right? And this is where it all clicks into place. It's a really powerful idea when you think about it. You know that old saying about a few bad apples? Well, maybe the problem isn't the apples. Maybe the problem is the barrel itself. When the price to just get into politics is so incredibly high, the system practically makes corruption a necessity just to survive. Okay, so let's pull all of this together. What are the big takeaways from Singapore's amazing story? I mean, yeah, the context is different, but the principles behind their success, they're totally universal. And they offer some pretty profound lessons for any country that's serious about winning this fight. It really boils down to 3 core lessons. Number 1, pay people what they're worth. If you pay a leader the salary of a clerk, don't be shocked when they look for other income. Number 2, make getting caught a sure thing. The risk has to be way higher than the reward. And finally, number 3, and this is the big one, fix the math. Politics has to be public service, not a business where your first job is to earn back a 50 crore rupee investment. So I want to leave you with this one last question, and it's a really tough one. If you strip away all the promises, all the personalities, and just look at the system itself, can a political system that requires you to be fantastically wealthy just to compete ever produce a truly honest government? That's something to think about. Thanks for joining me.